Cool. Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. So I'm going to be doing a pose-to-pose workflow for this assignment. I was playing around with this Stormtrooper rig and I found it pretty fun to use. So I thought I'd have a go at playing with this rig and making a backflip animation. So I have this reference I'm using here. Like that, cool. And I'm not going to stick to it one-to-one, but just for the main poses I'm going to get from this animation, or this reference. And then I'm going to show you how I would do a pose-to-pose workflow. So I'm making a sort of tutorial series now about different types of workflows, and I thought I'd start with the basic sort of pose-to-pose one, which is, I guess, the most common that people learn about in school, and I think it's really useful to learn first. So let me set up these things quickly to get the rig sorted out. I have a ground plane here, which is pretty standard, and I'm just going to go through the rig very, very quickly. So the rig is pretty simple. There's a gun, which I'm actually going to hide for this one. I don't need the gun. And there's these extra controllers which I've hidden here, but to be honest, I kind of need them anyway. These control the armor. So I do need to adjust these a little bit, because if I do bend the chest too much, you'll see this in a second, it does kind of go a little bit strange. So when I do these backflip poses, I'm going to have to rotate these back a little bit to try and get a nicer shape just before it intersects. There we go, like that kind of thing. So that's kind of the only difficult thing about this rig. The rest of it's pretty simple. It's an auto rig, sort of, what's it called, human IK, is that the right one? Or anyway, it's a very quick auto rigger and it does the job. Cool. Right, let me just get set up with the stream itself and then I'll start blocking. Cool. Cool. Yeah, okay, cool. So, last thing I was checking, one thing. And I'm going to check this one thing. Sorry, making sure everything's working, my microphone and stuff. Last time I started streaming and my mic wasn't on, so it was a little bit awkward, but now it is, I think, right? Yeah, cool. Okay, so let's get this first pose in. So I'm going to quickly just make a selection set for the rig. Put this over to the side. Select everything, not the geo, just the rig. Cool. And do I have one already? I'm going to use Animate for this post-to-post workflow, but nothing that Maya can't do natively. So it won't be like for example, I'm going to use a selection set like this. But that won't be something you can't do in Maya. Cool. So let's delete this weird pose I made. Checking it's all good now. Yeah. Cool. Right. Let's make this first pose. So the reason why this rig, this animation is going with the reference is because I have this Keyframe Pro plugin. So offset is by 36 frames, so it's kind of doing the main. It's playing with Maya basically. I really recommend this plugin. It's really useful for making things easy to watch, as in your reference is easy to watch. You can also use the image plane for the back of the Maya in the background, so you show, or is it, where is it gone now? It's been so long since I did it. Yeah, view image plane and import image, you can do that too. But yeah, anyway, okay, let's make this first pose. So I'm gonna offset this by about 30 frames, just so I see a little bit more of the starting pose. Yeah, see, there we go. So I see this sort of first thing. I'm not gonna do this step thing because I think that's a little bit awkward, but he's going to basically bend down into this pose, right? So let's go to frame 7 and make the first pose here, because this is the first very clear pose I want, this sort of the golden pose. Let's bring the feet together slightly. I want to animate this in world space. Let's also rotate this back to 0 then. There we go. So let's bring this in slightly. We'll give a slight rotation out just because it's for variety. And let's bring this down. Now he's got quite a straight back, you can tell just from his posture. So let's also make this a back foot. I'm going to use FK or IK. I think using for this position he's going to be on the ground, right? Yeah, he's going to touch the ground like this. So I'm going to use FK for this. So IK, I'll switch to IK. He's going to be touching the ground. Cool. Let's put these back to 0, because they're obviously already posed. Back to 0. I'm going to add these to my selection set, add selection. And also with these IK pivots as well. Put these back to 0 and add these to the rig selection. Cool. So let's find this pose again. Frame 7. So he's going to have a slight rotation forward. Most of it's going to be from the hips, like I said. Let's bring him back in space a little bit. Bring it down. And let's rotate. Let's turn off the extras for now, the red ones. I want to just see the FK. And I'm going to rotate them together from the hips. So all these, is it 3 or 4? This one is belt. Yeah, no, that's also extra. Add this to extra. Select them. There we go. So there's also this hip controller, which does this. And there's this one that does this. So they kind of do the same thing, right? So I'm not going to animate both of them. I'm going to add this bottom one here also to the extra. So I'm just have these 1, 2, and 3. So you can see here we've got 3 controllers. Very simple to use. And it's not going to confuse me later on when I have 2 different controllers doing the same thing. Let's animate this. Also make sure in world space. It's a tiny bit, actually. I think most of it's going to be in the hips. Do more on the hips first. Cool. Let's bring these shoulders, see they're down and back, these shoulders. Let's bring them down and back. So bring them down, bring them back. Not too much, of course, because he has got armor. Hey. Thank you for joining. I saw you, you posted your work earlier, right, in the Discord, didn't you? Yeah, I saw it. You were was it the ghoul and the werewolf? Was that your shot? Cool. Let's make a shot cam as well. New. Let's call this shot. There, get a nice angle in. Out there for now. I won't do any animation to the camera yet, or if at all. Make the focal 50 though. I get a bit more. There we go. Cool. Cool. Lock that. Can I bring this across more? No. Okay, cool. Let's animate 2 levels side by side off the graph editor. Make this. I like my left side to be my perspective, and this one could be my shot cam. Let's turn off the picker. I don't need that one. Let's make this go to the top. There we go. Bring this down a bit. Cool. Hopefully that's not too hard to see. Hi Changyun, 안녕하세요. Thank you for watching. 감사합니다. Yeah, I saw it. It was a good shot, by the way, your werewolf. Just making sure that you have the timing and spacing. Awesome. Yeah, make sure you post it again. I think you had a pretty good start. Just make sure that the spacing is good and the spacing is even. That's the only thing I'd work on. I want on the textures. Okay. I think maybe he can bring his hips back more and bring it further down. And his head is coming up, right? I'm going to put this into... actually, I want to keep it in local space because I want the rotation to kind of go together with the body. So maybe bring this down and bring this head up. Awesome. Also, make sure you do post it again in the Discord when you finish your feedback. If anyone's watching, by the way, who hasn't watched my stuff before, I've made a Discord, which is why we're talking about Discord. It is here. Please join the Discord, and you can join the stuff, and you can post either your things just to show off if you want to boast about your things, or put into feedback column, and you can get feedback on your work. So please do join and post. I won't be able to move the feedback thing. I won't be able to forever because of time. So if you're new here, post it quickly, and I'll make sure I get to you guys first. Okay, cool. Right. So that's kind of the first post. Let's make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe we can bend this arm a tiny bit. Cool. And let's look at the arms. So the arms go over. Yeah, they're leading a lot. Okay, cool. Right, okay. That's my first pose. Let's make sure I'm in stepped mode as well. So to change to stepped, I'm going to go to the settings, animation, and I want it default in. I want it to be, well, actually it doesn't matter, but I want out to be stepped. That's what I want. And save. Cool. So now when I make keys, it won't go to spline. Okay. So let's find a new pose. So I'm going to block this on. I'm going to find my key poses, and then I'm going to go back and do my anticipations, and then do my breakdowns. Let's find my next golden pose. So my next golden pose, I think, is going to be... It's going to be the bottom of the jump, right? Or the start. So I'm going to set key on frame 14, and I'm going to get really low down with this hip. So let's bring it down. And I think you can see he's leaning backwards now into it. He's kind of bringing his weight back over his back feet. These feet come down. Can I make it? That's a bit easier to see, right? Is that easier to see? I think it is. Yeah. Let's bring these hands, very straight hands, This guy's a gymnast, right? So he's very, or maybe he's a UFC fighter. So he's got very good posture, very good posing. I think sometimes gymnastics, if you get really good reference, it's really easy to animate. Okay, and then he's going to actually have his chest coming up a little bit, isn't he? He's going to start rotating backwards. So let's take these top two and rotate them backwards, like that. And then maybe, let's have a look at that. Cool. And then his neck, of course, is going to be going like this. I'm going to rotate these two together as well. Rotating together is quite important because they do move together, right? I might have to adjust this a little bit later. It's a little bit stretched, but we'll see. Cool. What about his hand? What are his hands doing? How do I zoom in here? I forgot how to zoom in. Second. His hands are facing backwards and they come up like that. Okay, cool. Let's fix this first pose again. His hands are a bit more this way. And I won't do fingers yet. I've had this conversation with different animators, whether they animate the fingers in the blocking stage, or if they animate them later as secondary action. Of course, every shot's different, but I think for this shot, animating it later is probably easier. Okay, cool. Let's also set my things to steps. I'm doing step, right? Cool. That's my first pose. Yep, I am still on career. I've been here for nearly 8 years. I'm leaving next year eventually. Me and my family are going to go back to England. Okay, so this pose is a bit more closer together, I think. So bring this down. Let's check the shot cam. So I want to make sure this is a bit annoying, this graphic. 1 second. If you have these black spots on your rig, by the way, you want to go to near kit plane, set this to like something like 10. And you could also put this one to like 10,000. That should fix it. I'm going to turn off the texture because it's a little bit distracting. Cool. Don't do it. England. Yeah, I mean, I've heard, I haven't actually been back to visit in a long time. I am obviously English, but I've lived here for a long time in Korea. And to be honest with you, living in both countries for a long time, everywhere's got problems. Okay, so that's that pose. I think this one could be brought forward slightly. I'm looking at this now, and the arc I want to have for the is like this kind of arc where it's kind of going down like this for the hips, I mean, or actually like this, like that. But right now it's going down, so I want it to be a bit more of an arc, which I will focus more on splining, but even so. Okay. Okay, let's find my next golden pose. So I think my next golden pose is actually this one from 20, because that's where the hips are at their lowest. So this is at frame 20, and the feet are still planted. So I'm going to do 20 as my next golden pose. And so basically this is going to be set key on everything. Cool. And the arms do really come up. The body is now basically completely vertical. The legs are almost, they are vertical actually. The hips are a little bit higher than the knees. And the arms, they're going to rotate this way. So they're going to be back towards the body. And they're going to be up like this. And then I'm going to be from the top, move it across here. And they're going to have the hands together like it's clapping a little bit. I'm going to fix this pose on the view as well. I mean, I do like using IK hands, but sometimes posing them is really annoying. Because, you know, you can't just rotate them, you've got to move them in space. Actually, I did do a video the other day, which was how to get animation cursor free. So if you're curious about a trick for this workflow, you should go and watch this video. Which is called How to Animate IK Arms. Though, sadly, for this specific shot, this method won't work because I have to use contact poses. He's touching the ground with his hands. But if you want to watch that video, you can see a method of using IK hands to actually animate quite quickly. Like I said, for this shot, it won't work, sadly. Okay, his hands are kind of come together like they're clapping. Okay, and I'm going to animate this FK chest as well a bit more. I might do this first. So this is really kind of rotated backwards. I think this could be more rotated, a bit higher up as well. Let's check these together. Okay, so this can come down more. This thing actually come down more as well. Yeah, I don't want that push off. I think this can be forward more. As you see that arc 1, 2, 3, that's the arc I'm looking for. Even at this stage, I want to try and get an arc. Cool. And I'll work on the spacing of his hips later on. But just the overall posing. Okay, let's animate this FK thing as well. So the hand, I mean, to this, so the pivot. It's kind of fairly standard. As in, it's not, I don't need to do too much to this. I can leave it at default. But just a little bit of a nicer pose. Okay. Okay, this one could still... I'm looking at both the viewport and I'm looking at my perspective cam. I want to use both. So if everyone's still watching, where are you guys from? Are you, I'm guessing you're still living in the UK then, Carlo? Okay, that's okay. I might animate this. Yeah. There is a hip control, which I'm not going to use yet. Because I think this might be a good thing to use later. But I want to just try and stick to using the root first. And then I might use the hip later. Okay. Let's key these things down. Let's find the next golden pose. So I think this is clearly the next golden pose. Then maybe it should be... No, actually, maybe it should be this one. And then a contact. This would be a breakdown, I think. Let's get the contact pose in, I think. So how far does he travel? He doesn't really travel that far. But... Okay. Cool, let's just get this pose in then. So I'm going to basically flip the body. It's going to be really annoying to get these legs to follow. But I'm half tempted to switch the legs to FK, actually. Move this back in space. I'm going to make sure I rotate these correctly. So they're this way, and this way, and down. And then they're going to rotate this way. Its hands like down like this. Rotate them. Well, this one goes this way, and down, like that. And this one is the opposite. It's this way and this way. I think the distance they travel is not that far. So I mean maybe about here. It's about correct. Let's do this one. Move the hips to accommodate that. So the hips are pretty high up at this point. It's more, body's almost vertical, but not quite. Cool. And let's get this correct. I'm half tempted to make a locator for the pivot point, but I think it's okay to just do it frame by frame later on when I'm polishing. Let's bring this down as well. So the shoulders are going to be extended here. So I have to actually do some work on the shoulders as well on the other poses. But for now, I'll leave it as it is. Let's get this bend in the chest in. So I'm definitely blocking quite fast on purpose. I just want to get a rough overlook of the shot, the timing and the overall sort of feel of the shot quite fast. I'm then going to go do a blocking plus where I go back and I actually, you know, finalize my poses a bit more. He's got quite wide arms here. Which way are his elbows facing? They're facing outwards, right? His elbows. I'm going to bring this out. I think this can be slightly cross more. Bring the shoulder down. Cool. Okay. Right, let's bring this up. I want to get these nice straight arms. Just like the contact pose for when you do a walk cycle. You want to make sure the contact pose for your arms is also kind of that same straight pose. Because it's got to have that weight of taking the body, and then the arm will buckle and the elbows will bend. You can see in the reference it happens already. He goes straight arm, then he bends down into it, this pose. And then he comes out of it, back into straight arms, and pushes off again. So let's get these legs working though. So his legs are basically just going like a nice arc like this. I'm going to rotate these down. Now, I'm going to offset this because I want this to be a bit more fun, a bit more dynamic. I'm going to actually offset this a little bit to make a nicer pose. So it just feels a bit more, I guess, natural. Bring these out a little bit. Like that. And I think later on, for blocking plus, I'm going to animate this hip. But for now, I'm not going to do it because I want to make sure everything's working on the simplest basic level, like I said. Okay, cool. Okay, there's definitely a breakdown. We need this breakdown here. But for now, I'm going to skip it because I think I want to make sure that the timing's working first. Okay. I'm going to skip this. This is also a breakdown pose. I need the pose he leaves the ground, which is this pose. Cool. So let's try and work on this pose. So the hands are still stuck, which is nice. And let's bring this over. His body's definitely almost left the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up in translation. And I'm going to rotate them down. I might bring them forward. There's definitely ways to use locators and also plugins to make this job easier. But I want to use a pretty standard, simple workflow for beginners. So I'm not going to use any plugins. Rotate these this way. Bring them over. And the FK chest is going to inverse. Oh, that's the wrong way. This is where it's a bit annoying because I wanted to use FK for the jump off, but now I want IK for the hands push off. That's an IK chest. But I'm going to stick to using FK for this because it's easier to just stay in one pose. So I'm going to make this nice shape and then rotate it backwards to get the right position. His hand, his head is still kind of tucked. I know for a fact I need to do a really good blocking plus here. Just checking that's in the right direction. I've gone kind of backwards. That's fine. I can adjust this. Okay, this pose is obviously way too far across. Let's adjust this from the side view. So select all my IK controllers, which is the feet, hand, and chest. I'm going to that's wrong. Go to world space. I'm going to check this pose is here. So let's go to the front view. There we go. Bring it across. This one too. Bring it across. There it is, better. Cool. And let's rotate these down to get the feet moving down. Cool. And I want to get that nicer shape. So I'm actually going to rotate this way more. Bring it back. I'm going to rotate the FK in. When I rotate this one, I think the shape is a bit too... The reason why this one here is kind of unnatural is just rotated from the upper back, which doesn't make sense. So I'm going to rotate it from the middle back more. And then I can maybe use the hips as well. Normally, you rotate the bottom as much as you can, and then you move up the chain as you get towards the end of your posing. So I needed to fix that. These legs are hyper extended, so let's bring this in a bit. I think I can... What leg was before? This leg is kind of dragging. So I might have this one drag as well. I have the feet pointing up. And I still want to make sure that the hands are straight. It's about there. Bring it up in space more. There we go. I'll work on the fingers and stuff later on for like blocking plus or spline. Cool. Cool. Okay, and then let's get the contact pose in for the landing, which is, yeah, let's do, yeah, 39. It's a very gymnastic style posing here. Cool. Okay, just checking the timing still. I'm still going to do some timing adjustments later. I'm going to basically do this blocking pass, and then I'm going to get rid of the reference like this, and then I'm going to work on the poses a bit more. Change color. There you go. No, that's better. A bit more independently of the reference. The reference is good for the start, but you don't want to focus on it to the end. Otherwise, it's going to make your animation feel really robotic or rotoscoping, basically. Which can be a style you want to go for. But I don't. Personally, I want to make it a little bit more natural. Okay. Okay, cool. This pose isn't super good. I think this needs a bit of adjustment later. But I'm going to work on the timing first. Then I'll go to the poses again. Okay, let's get this landing pose. So it's going to have fairly simple rotation. Let's get these feet on the ground. So put that to 0. It's easy. Rotate them this way. And this one, of course, goes this way. And they're going to be on tiptoes. I'm going to use the roll attribute for this one. There's a roll thing there. Yeah. Make sure they're both on the ground. And this one needs to put this to 0. And also to... wait, what's that one do? That's... Yeah, so put this to minus 360. It's on a rotation, right? I want to be on the ground. And this one also to minus 360. So there's one full loop. And let's bring these hips down. I can roll them backwards. Roll. Let me bring them backwards in space as well. Because that's where they're coming from, right? Yeah, they're going a bit further back. Goes up. We've got a fairly high chest. Goes up a little bit. I know the shoulders need some work as well, but I'm going to do the shoulders a bit later. And let's work on the neck. It's going to bring the neck up slightly. Pose could be nicer. His arms come out. And then, of course, his hand is going to come in. So, of course, I can't do backflips, so I wouldn't know how this actually happens. Okay. Cool. That pose was broken. Let's fix his foot. Foot needs to be a bit less broken. I think a bit straighter as well. I do think I need to animate this hip, actually. Well, I know I will have to, but I'm going to wait a little bit longer, like I said. I want to just get the overall timing done. Maybe get this leg out, that might help. There will need to be some rotations in this chest as well. But I'll work on that again. Blocking plus is coming soon. Okay, let's work on the... Got a nice bounce. Let's go to frame 15 and get the final pose in. I think that's kind of the next golden pose, is the last pose. So it's coming up. The roll is obviously 0. Yep, roll is 0. But if you've got any questions in the chat, brother, please ask. Because I am just going quite fast today, but I am definitely okay to have questions if you guys want to ask anything. Even about just me or any other piece of work I've done. Or animation in general. Anything is fine. Okay. It's got quite a straight posture. But it's also got... I'm going to put these controllers all to 0. I'm going to repose them. Sometimes it's a good trick to just put everything to 0 and then you can do it again. It's a bit easier than having to counter animate what you've already done. Okay, I think let's turn on the ambient occlusion. I want to see the shadows. Let's bring this one back a little bit. Get this out. Let's just check I've done from the front again like I did before. Yeah. Okay, cool. And let's, I think, bring this foot in a bit closer. I have to fix the pose beforehand as well. So let's take these translations. I'm going to middle mouse, so that's middle mouse, and drag to frame 39. And then just set a key on the translations, key selected. I'm going to copy that pose, so it's going to be the same translation pose in space. Cool. Cool. Let's get these pole vectors, move them back to the side. This one too. Cool, let's bring it down slightly, get a nicer-ish pose. I might actually make it go to 60. Just because I think maybe having a moving hold for the end. Yeah, just a bit more cushion. I'm going to bring these shoulders back to, just put these back to default again. Bring these up a little bit. I want to get kind of like a Mandalorian. I don't know if you guys watch Star Wars a lot, but I really like the Mandalorian TV show and character. I have so much Lego of Star Wars behind me, which I won't show you now because it's dark here. But get like a pose, a bit like actually a bit like this guy anyway, by coincidence. Okay, that's a little bit stiff. I guess he would be stiff after doing a backflip, right? Can you guys do backflips? What I mean, I can do some gymnastic stuff when I was a kid, but nowadays I do rock climbing, but that's not quite the same. Okay, let's check the timing of this. Okay. I think the timing is working okay. I'm going to just copy this pose for now and give it frame 60. I'm not going to animate anything yet. Go to frame 1 though and just get this pose working. So I'm actually going to just I'm going to copy frame 7 back to frame 0. It's got the same pose twice, and then it's going to basically go backwards. So this is going to be higher up in space. It's probably going to be looking down at the ground. So look down a bit more. His arms will be actually pretty bit up, like preparing to do the jump. Right. Cool. Oh, that's still in stepped. Yeah. There we go. Oh, that's still step 2. Put this to, oh, stepped. No. There we go. Sorry. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, so the next bit is, of course, we need to do the blocking plus. Let's go back through. I'm going to work a bit more on these poses now. So let's open up the graph editor while I do this, because I do like to work with the graph editor open. And let's go to the cog first and just check these poses together. So the first thing I want to do is I'm actually going to add this breakdown. This breakdown is so important for the jump pose. I think I want to add this. I want to add 2 actually. I'm going to add a breakdown at frame 22 and a breakdown at frame 25. And that's actually maybe not 1, 2, 3. What I might do is make it a bit quicker. Okay, let's go 23 to start off with. Because 23 is still actually on the ground. That's actually a good pose to do. And then I can do 25 as my flying pose, and then 23 as my contact, and 27 as my contact. Let's do 23. So, he's going to come pushing up. So it's not this way, it's more like up, isn't it? So he's going to actually also have his feet sort of on his tiptoes. So I'm going to roll this forward in space. Push this up. His hands are completely back. And so a trick you can do, by the way, to get like a, this plugin here is called Tween Machine, this yellow one. So what I can do, if I press this middle button here, it's going to go to the middle of these 2 poses, which of course I don't actually want that, but it's a way to quickly do breakdowns. But what you can actually just do instead is you can set these 2 keys to select both of them, go right click and go to tangents and do to linear. And then what you can do is you can take the middle point, 25, drag it back to your pose you want, and then set a key. So now 23 is actually technically a breakdown, or it's in the middle of frame 20 and 27. That's how it works. But then I'm going to move it up in space though. And put this back to, put this back to stepped. Okay, so this is where it's going. His arms and his shoulders are completely sort of rotated up. I'm going to put the textures back on quickly, just so I can see what's going on. Yeah, it's pretty broken, but not to be. It's kind of expected because of the way this rig works. That's fine. Cool. Okay. Let's make this a bit more back in space rotational wise. Let's check this here. Yeah, you can see I can actually do the graph editor already at this point. That's why I love having the graph editor open. So this is also an issue. I can have this a bit more forward. So I'm kind of doing splining as I go along. Just a way of making sure everything's working. This is also an issue. See, you can see the translations are wrong. So that's where it should be. Maybe this one could be a bit further forward in space. This one could be a bit back in space. That's fine, because that's the translations. Okay, let's go back to the viewport though. Okay. I think actually I could probably take 1 foot off the ground. So I'm going to take this foot here. I'm going to bring it off the ground. Let's set the roll to 0. Oh, no, to 0. And bring this up. And I'm going to animate this hip now. So I'm going to... but that was a mistake. I should not have animation on this one. But that was a mistake. But it's okay. I'm going to do it now anyway. So let's animate this. I want to get a nicer pose here. I want to get these arms. If I make this a bit bigger, you can't quite see this arm because of the angle, but that's okay because I can see kind of what's going on with the body. It's got a nice sort of curve. So let's make that curve with this hand, and let's also just do the same thing again. Bring it down. Cool. Like that. In a bit, I'm going to use motion trails as well, so I can actually see what's going on properly. I've been animating all day, my hands are cramping. But animating a really difficult bicycle ride shot today at work. And there was so much like micro movements with the manipulators. I use a pen at work as well, tablet, but I don't have that at home. Even so much. I should have taken more breaks, to be honest. Cool. Okay, I think that's okay for now. That's a nice pose. Both here and also in the... Yeah, I'm going to turn off the manipulator. I don't like to see it sometimes. There we go. So what is my viewport rendering? Is it bright? Just to 1. Maybe it's... So right now I've got viewport set to 3. Just to 1. Yeah, that's a bit easier to see, right? There we go. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. The next thing I need to work on is... Let's make sure everything's keyed. Yeah, it is. Okay, let's go back to the start. Okay, I need my... This is the anticipation pose here. So this is... I'm looking at the arms here, by the way. So the hips go down, but the arms are going up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that trick I said before, right? I'm going to select both these keys, set them to right click, tangents, go to linear, and go to frame, let's go to frame 10. I'm going to set a key at frame 10, and then going to put these all the way back to right click, tangents, and stepped. So now I've got this frame 11 pose is kind of like the middle of both 7 and 14. So now I can basically work. So that means the hips are kind of going in the right pattern. So the hips kind of already see the graph editor. They're kind of going in the right way. But I can edit these two IK arms to get up in space for the anticipation pose. Hope that makes sense. I mean, you can use Toon Machine. Like I said, this yellow button is Toon Machine, which is what I use at work and what I use all the time. But for beginners, I would just make sure you know how to use Maya in a basic sense, just before you start using plugins. Cool. Let's look at this pose. So the arms also come in as well. I think this pose at 14 could also be changed, to be honest. I'll bring this in. This one can also come in. Just trying to work out where the arc of this hand is. So go to the side, see a bit better. It's going back, 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 and then up. This again can maybe come back in space. I'm just trying to get this arc, which is going to be doing like this motion, like that motion. That's what I'm going for. So even at this stage, I'm trying to think about arcs. Cool. Cool. Okay, so okay, this pose here, you can see now actually the arms are coming down more. This is where it should be more like down here, like properly propelling himself forward. So I'm just going this now, what I call blocking plus. I'm going back through these poses, making them more refined. Okay, at frame 11 as well, I can make this FK chest just drag slightly, even actually up to the neck and head. Just put them back in space. So basically they're going to drag, the hips go first, and up the body drags down, and then they're going to like jump upwards. That may look strange now, and I might have to adjust it later. I might also rotate this back a slightly as well. Yeah. And I think what I can do to the frame 11 as well is to make this arc better. Right now what's going on is it's just dropping down like this. It's going down and then going up. So I make this a bit more of an arc like this. I can bring these, as the FK arms go backwards, so they go this way, the hips can go forwards. Just go onto the balls of the feet, it's going to push off and then jump up, I would imagine. Cool. Cool. Okay, let's work on the next pose now. So I'm pretty close to going into spline, by the way, with this workflow. Just need to get a few more poses in first. So one of those poses would be this breakdown at frame 30. Sorry for the coughing. I think I do need to have another airborne pose. Let's go to frame 25 actually. Sorry, I forgot to do this one. Again, let's do this trick. So I'm going to set these two Ks, 23 and 27, set them to right click and linear, and set a key, and then put them back to stepped. Cool. So now I can work on this pose. So I'm actually going to bring this pose towards the ground a bit more. I might even do a stretch frame. So I'm going to use a plugin I love to use when I use pose to pose workflow. Basically, it takes the geometry of your character, and you have to then add this to the plugin, and then you can create a copy of it on a frame. So just move that out of the way. So this rig has set the thing to override. So 1 second, I've got to find the geometry in the graph editor. So I'm saying, okay, go to the geometry. Let's find the main body. It's probably fine, isn't it? All the bits I need. Yeah, okay, add that. And now if I make a ghost pose, see how it stays in space? So I can see where the hands are in space. Cool. So what I'm going to do is go to the right frame, which is going to be frame, hide this now. I'm also hiding this one in a second, but yeah, frame 27, make ghost pose. So now at frame 25, I can adjust this pose knowing where it's going. So I want this to kind of follow the body, really stretch out, reaching the ground. I might even put stretchy on for this one frame. I might make it stretch. And I'm going to put the fingertips where they're going to go, like this. Let's bring this back. Make this a bit more transparent. There we go. And I want to turn off the textures again, just so I can see what's going on a little bit more. Yeah, cool. Let's animate these textures, these fingers for one frame. Let's animate them now. I will do a proper finger pass in a second, but for this, I want to just animate these, bring them back in space. Like that. That's about right. Imagine actually it's going to be a bit more vertical, these hands. Put the knuckles in the right location. Ah. About there, right? Yeah. Let's bring these individual. So let's bring the main knuckle joints. Rotate them first. All four of them. Rotate them. Make this even more transparent and turn back on the texture just for this one bit. Cool. Actually, I might need to go to frame 27 and make a proper finger pose first. That might be easier. So let's rotate this down a bit more. There we go. So bring these up. Delete this pose for now. Those fans are quite spread, aren't they? No, not today. Hi Vera, thank you for joining again, by the way. I'm gonna do a cycle again. I've got some cycles I'm working on for fun. But I thought I would do a demonstration for post-to-pose workflow. Mostly because today at work I was doing so much stuff which wasn't like body mechanics, like lip sync. I just wanted to do something a bit more fun. And I also have a video I'm making this week about different workflow styles. So I thought I'd do a demonstration for each one before I make the video. Cool. Bit. That's fine, right? Yeah. Thank you for joining again, by the way. I do appreciate you coming in all the time. It's good motivation for me. Okay, let's key that. Make this a pose now so I can see where it's going a bit more. So if I was doing this, by the way, for a bit of a longer shot, or for a shot where I knew like I had to do this kind of motion a lot of times, I would actually change the pivot point and make it go to the knuckles using a locator, which makes it easier to make this pose. But like I said, beginner stuff, let's just do beginner posing. So I want to try and match this as much as I can. Bring this more forward in space. Is that still structure on? Oh, that's the wrong pose. Whoops. That's the 34. There we go. That's why I was being weird. I wonder why I was doing it again. Let's bring this down a bit more. Like that. Bring this forward. Does that feel okay for this finger? This pinky feels nice, right? Yeah, I think the pinky feels fine. Let's zoom out to there. Paste this one. Oh, good. I'm glad I motivated you. That's kind of why I did this channel with. I'm not expecting to quit my job or make money from this, really. But it helps me work more because in the past, I mean, I'll come home from work, I'd open up a shot, I'll start then just either playing video games or I would just, you know, watch TV. I thought, well, if I've got some free time, let's just do something a bit more productive. And try to actually, you know, improve. And I thought using streaming would be a way to make myself accountable. Yeah. Yeah, that was the case for me. I started off like a month or two ago. Where has it gone? I'll find it for you. About a month or two ago, I did this one, this this animation, which is like the start of my process. So this was the final shot. I'll play it for you now. Basically, the process of what I did, and this is the final result. I'm not sure if you saw it or not. Yes, I made that video with that animation for the Agora challenge, and then at that point I posted it on YouTube for fun, and then I thought, well, let's actually try and make something tutorial based, educational for that video. So then I thought, well, let's keep going, and that made me feel good to like work on something I like doing. So I just kept going and kept going, making more videos. Okay, let's look at this hand now. Let's look at it again. So that is quite stretched. It might be too stretched. Thank you. Yeah, my colleague at work helped with the lighting. Might be okay. Okay, cool. So it's got quite a bent leg. I'll work out the best way to rotate it. Maybe at speed it'll be fine. If that looks too broken, I might have to change it by a frame. Maybe I can just adjust this. I'll see. Okay, let's work on that. I think this pose might be a frame 26 pose, but I'll do that for my blocking plus or my splining, I guess. Let's just get this next pose ready. Like that, yeah. Yeah, I think maybe I need to do a frame 26 pose. But we'll see. It's time, 50 minutes. Cool. Okay, let's work on, there's a pose missing here at frame 30. So let's work on this pose. So the hand, this is the one that's completely compressed. So this is quite an easy pose, I think. So it's kind of a continuation of everything. This is when maybe I might switch to FK, maybe. I don't know. Okay, let's get this down. That's the bend I want in the arms. But I want this also to be a pretty straight body. So bring this across like that. That. And straight arms, straight legs together. Bring this up. So yeah, so by the way, what are you working on, Vera? What type of shot? Have you started something fun? Any personal work? Okay, let's also animate this hip. I think this can be animated up more. Oh, cool. I'd love to see it sometime. Okay, I think. Oh yeah, definitely simple. That's why I'm doing like 60 frame stuff. Like even the cycles are pretty simple, just to get my mechanics better. I did start as well a massive before the Lego shot I did. I started a massive dragon fighting scene, which I still need to finish, I think. But yeah, it was so long that it was like 600 frames, maybe even more. Like it was flying, then it was landing, and then it was getting attacked by something, and it was just a bit too long. So I left it behind. Okay, right. Okay, I think at this point I might go into spline. The reason is because this spot section here is just kind of a very simple ease in. I think doing it by, I mean, let's do one pose because I think it's good to practice. So let's go to frame. Let's do the same trick, 39 and 50. Set this all to linear. And I'm going to delete this key quickly. And then put a key, and then that's now a linear pose. And then put this back into stepped. Okay, cool. So this is where his feet are now planted, right? So let's put this down to roll of 0. And then his hips are kind of already back. His hands are kind of coming up because they're kind of counterbalancing. That's definitely not correct. But they're also more bent, aren't they? Cool. Just for the clarity's sake, might make the helmet a bit. I think also his head can lead here more. Okay. This ending is quite rough, and it's definitely the kind of thing I would do in Spline, just because it's a bit of a linear ease in. So I think at this stage I am going to go into stepped, sorry, into Spline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take everything, I'm going to just double click, just everything, and go to auto spline, which is tangents, auto, and auto legacy for me. Like that. And let's just play this once. It's probably going to be terrible. Let's play it once. Yeah, it feels pretty slow. Okay, let's actually take some keys out now. So let's take the entire timeline. Now I've got these buttons plus and minus. All I'm doing is going to the, what is it? Keys, add or remove in between. Basically, that just means it deletes a key or adds a key. So I'm going to go to an empty space in the timeline. I want everything to move backwards, so to become faster. So I'm just going to the minus button, and everything shifts one key to the left. Only it's after the cursor, so frame 1 won't change. Let's make this a good 2-3 frames quicker. Cool. I think this whole section is too slow as well. Let's maybe do minus twice. Cool. Maybe do 1 minus here for the anticipation, just 1 minus. This is how I retime shots, but it's so quick. Especially when doing post to pose. It's so fast to retime shots this way. Okay, where else is an issue? I think this might be more of a spacing issue, to be honest, than a timing one. Let's get rid of this now. This is distracting me. Cool. It's going to save my work, because you never know what happens. Also, yeah, Vera, do you work in post to pose or spline? How do you work normally? Let's do a minus here. Do a minus here. Just do 2 frames faster. Yeah, that's a bit better. Cool. Let's do a few minuses here for the open holds. Let's do 1. Let's do 2 more. Just back down to 50 frames. Like I originally planned. There we go. Cool. Okay, right, let's go into the actual. I think that timing works nicely now, at least for the initial pass. It's definitely an issue with the spacing, but we can work on that now in the spline mode. So how do I spline these shots? So I'm gonna basically go in layer by layer now. So let's go into the translations up and down first, and I'm actually gonna start using a motion trail for this because I love motion trails and they are so good to use. So I'm gonna use a motion trail for the hips. Okay, so I'm already seeing a kind of issue here. But I'm not sure if that's actually practical. I should go back to my reference one more time. Quickly, 1 second. Open it up. I think... How does he do this backflip? Does he, Let's play it. The hips do have a slight bounce, right? They bounce very subtly, they bounce down. But they bounce down on the hips. So I think here it's definitely too shallow. This is why it's looking weird. This needs to go up more. Which is why I do think this is definitely too this pose is too soon. So I'm gonna bring this pose up. Maybe I keep the fingers for now. But like I said, fingers is later. I'm gonna stick to doing the cock first. This can be the up pose. This is going to be the sort of down pose, I guess. And then I think 22. Yeah, this is also an issue with the translation Z. So here you can see this blip. Let's just delete this key for now. I'm going to key it again. I want to keep things keyed for now, just so I can basically keep track of things. There we go. See, it's a bit more fluid now. Just that one small change makes it more fluid. Let's go back to the translations, find this down pose. So that's where it's taking the weight. And then I think same thing here. This can be a bit more up. I think the down pose is frame 34. Like that. Let's make this a bit higher up. Like that. And then bring it down more. So it has a bit of a deeper push. There we go. I'm just looking at the translation up and down, but that looks a bit nicer. Cool. Right, I think the back and forth should be fine then. But I want to just work on this a little bit more. So he comes out, like I said, he's just going to push out a little bit. Bit more there. Maybe bring this up a little bit more. I want to get a smoother curve. Again, you can probably delete some keys. I feel at this stage she should still be a bit further down. Let's delete these two. Let Maya do it for us. But I might delete from these here. Yeah, that's a bit nicer. That's a very smooth curve. I'll just let Maya do it for me. If you want to be really, really precise, you can key this back in if you want. Okay, let's also work on the up and down again. I want to make this a bit more of an anticipation. So bring this up, bring this down. And then I can put this down too. I think go to frame 2, have it with an up. I'm thinking of the anticipations now. So the way you want to think about kind of your shots is you have your golden poses. This is G, golden pose. And then you have your anticipations. And then you have your breakdowns. And then you have your in-betweens. That's kind of the best way to think about doing pose-to-pose workflow. So right now, I'm looking through my shot and I'm missing a few anticipations. So I'm kind of working on this bit now. And I guess I'm doing these two together, I guess. So, I mean, this is the splining part I'm saying, but even so, you want to go through a shot and always think about these 4 things. So everything actually works together. That's the main thing. So right now, this is... There we go. That feels a bit nicer. Even though it's only like 1 or 2 frames, you can kind of feel the difference. So yeah, it's very important. Let's delete these because they're getting in the way. Cool. Okay. I think that curve for the translations is done now. Let's look at the rotations a bit more. So rotation, I mean, it's only really rotation. I'm going to put some things in here. I mean, my posing was pretty bad for these rotations, but I can definitely work on it in splining. That's same thing again. Bring this down. And then it's got a really big flip. Can I even just delete this one? Yeah. If I delete this whole thing, does it look weird? Bring this up though. Bring this down. So the back is leaning. I want kind of this S curve, I guess. And delete these two. I'm gonna add in some moving hold, like I said. But just for now, just cool. Yeah, the arm needs some work. That's fine. The arms are secondary. Okay, let's just try and add some twist in here, just for fun. Just to make it a bit nicer. If I add some twist this way. Do it in the graph editor. So do it in the viewport. Move this way. Because this leg is peeling off first, so let's twist it kind of towards there. Maybe. Add an ease in. Delete this one. Bring this down. Bring this up. Bring this down. And this is very, very subtle animation. It's probably not doing much. But it does something. So leave that in. Okay. Hand's still cramping. I think I'll be animating in total today for almost 11 hours. Maybe 12. I'm gonna stop this animation stream in about 15-20 minutes as well. I'll probably finish off this blocking tomorrow. Or this shot tomorrow, sorry. Sip of water. Cool. Almost my thumb hitting spacebar all the time and alt. Okay. Cool. Okay, let's check this one more time all together. Oh, they're transitioning back to side and side. So there's not really any... I guess because this foot is peeling off first. It would be this way. Technically, it would be... which foot is landing with first? I might see what I might do is I might delay this key. It lands together right now, but I don't like that. I want to delay this one by 2 frames. So maybe have this one at frame 30. This one's sort of dragging still. Maybe. That's later on though, to be fair. What I want to do is have the translation X kind of feel like it's taking the weight on the left foot, or the screen left foot. And then it comes back across. Delete that one. And bring this up. Okay. Again, I'm going to add in the moving hold later. There we go. It does kind of travel a bit too far across, right? Yeah, it does. Let's just get all these world space keys. Move it back across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to the translation X. Let's just put this to C and then let's take all. Let's key this, delete that one, and delete that one. So making sure everything's keyed together. That's what I'm doing. Cool. Take these ones. I'm gonna move them. Do this one first. There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I'm focusing too much on the end of it. I should do the start first. Okay, go back to the start. So this section is fine. Let's go to the FK chest now. So let's go to rotation. Yeah, Z. Yep. So it's gonna come down, and I want the top to be dragging slightly more than it is. So this is the chest. Let's bring this up. Let's bring this down. So it's dragging more. Maybe bring this down as well. And then it's going to come down more. A bit more, and then it's going to come up. So this is the extreme, I think, for this pose. So I think this is the extreme. Just delete these two. This there. And then I think it's going to be the same thing for the lower chest as well. Or the, yeah. Let's delete these two. I want to make a nice curve. The reason why I'm going to have a different curve though, I think this one should be offset, as in this should be going forward, as in you see how it's going forward. But this one, if it's lower down, I want it to be continually going backwards. That momentum. But I still want to have a smooth curve for both of these. Yeah. Just a big change here. I think that could help. Oh no, I did have a reference that I used for the early blocking pass. So this one. Though to be fair, actually at work I animate without reference because I don't have time to look for reference. So I actually try and practice working. This is the reason I'm making this video, is to practice different workflows. Because I don't really do pose to pose that often. So I'm just gonna practice. It's always good to practice different things. But yeah, I think for these type of shots, having a quick reference just to get the basic mechanics down is good, and then you can focus on the I guess the polishy stuff. Cool. So this is the pose there. It's gonna still bend over, I think. And that's gonna come up quite fast, and that's gonna bend down a bit more. So bring this. This one's gonna drag, isn't it? Because that's gonna probably drag here on frame 34. So add a key to everything actually at frame 34. So add a key for everything. I like to keep it locked down even at this stage, just because I feel like I might be making more changes for timing. So it's easier to keep things locked down. This comes up. This can come down. This can be the extreme. Spline this now. So this is my, I am doing a pose-to-pose workflow. This is the spline pass. I'll upload the entire stream to my channel, so you can watch it from the start, if you're curious. Cool. I'll do this. If you're just joining this moving hold at the end, I'm going to do it at the end. It's just such a small thing, so I'm going to do it later. I think that's the FK chest done. Up until frame 37, it's done. Let's work on the head. Oh, I know. Let's do the rotation. There's pretty some rotation here. So rotation for the X is side to side, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna. This is rotated down, so I'm actually gonna rotate this one this way, like that. Which may be too much. Just delete these to start off with, and then delete these ones, just to get a curve. There we go. It's very subtle. You can kind of see it works a little bit, and then this one can get the other way, maybe, and bring it down like that. Again, there we go. Cool. This push-off is going to be the hardest bit. Okay, let's do the head now. Might even add a little bit of maybe like a head turn like that. Just start the starting pose just a little bit more like look where he's going, like that kind of thing. And then he's going to look at the ground, I would imagine. Because let's also match these poses together. Oh, no, don't go. Time to come back. There we go. Let's lock my UI. There we go. Cool. Okay, let's look at the up and down, which is the X, the Z curve, sorry. So, I think this could be a bit more down. And this one could be the extreme. I mean, they're all kind of extreme because it's such a big movement. You can't really see this, to be fair, but I think it's good to have some movement. Delete this one. And then I think it's going to be like that. Let's drag it down a bit more. And this is the neck. This is going to be bleeding it. So I'm going to bring this down first. That's too much. I'm just trying to make sure that the curve is making sense. Where if it's going to be dragging upwards, that the neck is moving first. So I'm doing the graph editor stuff, but I'm actually looking at the viewport. So I think here I can drag more. Like that. Maybe. This is the moving hold, so I'm gonna do this later. I think the main flip though for the head works. I think that head turn, I mean it's a bit fast, but I've set myself 50 frames as a limit, so I think that's fine. I'm gonna animate for about 15 more minutes, I think. Maybe I can try and get the hands done. Or is there some hands or feet? Hands or feet? The hands first. They're more important, I think, the hands. Okay, let's take off. Let's do one hand at a time. I'm gonna set a motion trail for this because you have to really. It's IK. So the way the hands work, they're gonna push off and they're gonna kind of go against the body. So the body's gonna go down, but the hands go up, and they're gonna swing around like push and then flip over the body. That's how it's gonna work. So anyone watching, whether they do ask questions, I'm happy to help with any sort of questions if you're confused. This is way too linear here. So this is going to come forward. I think frame 7 is fine. Now I put a key for frame 6, go to frame 8, brings out, and then I might delete frame 7. So at this stage, I'm going to start to delete keys. I'm still going to try and keep things locked down. I'm actually going to make sure that I'm now in 1 second. Animation. I want to go to Auto Spline Legacy because I'm now doing my, I guess, spline pass. So I want to make sure things are in spline. There we go. Okay. So let's work on this a little bit more from the top. See, there's a bit of a hiccup in the curve here. So I think that's because it comes in. This comes out more. This comes up more. There we go. And this comes in more. It comes out. And then frame 12, we need to have a really clearly have a key all the way out here. It's going to be the a very clear breakdown. Cool. So this hand should be extended the entire way. This might be a frame by frame. This is why I think maybe using FK could have been easier. But I don't like switching FK IK. It's annoying. So I'm just going to stick to using IK. Maybe that could be in quicker, I think. That could be... I'm looking at the spacing and the timing. And the arc, sorry, as well. So this be further forward, but down. Cool. I think... I suppose it's a bit straighter. That needs to be straight as well. This feels about right. But the spacing here is weird, so I'm going to bring this back. That's a bit annoying. I want this to have a nice arc, but I also want this to have a bend in the... I might go to frame 13. Can I fix this slightly with rotations? Translations? I probably can't. Maybe this could be up there, and this one could be more close to the body. That's probably the best way to do it. I want the arc I want to have is this arc here. But it's hard to get that when I'm using this angle. So I've got to try and find a way to not cheat, but like a, you know, work around it. My mind's frozen. Give me a second. Why are you frozen? Oh, I crashed. Okay, I've got autosave. Give me a second. To be fair, there might be a good hint to end the stream today and do it tomorrow. But I'll get the autosave back up and make sure it's working. I do love Maya, but like it does sometimes crash at the most annoying times. Give me 1 second. I mean, I used Blender for a long time, and Blender has its flaws, but Blender basically never crashes, which is amazing. Where's Maya gone? Autosave. There you go. Here it is. I got it. I lost 1 minute of time. Don't worry. But I think I might check the files working. I might actually end the stream there anyway, because that's nearly an hour and a half my time, as in any time. It's probably an hour and a half. But not this one. Just check the files working, and then I will call it a day. PC so slow. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this. I think it's fine. Yeah, it seems fine to me. It's the same file. Cool. Okay, well, I'm going to call it a day there, actually. That's a good time to stop. So tomorrow I'll work on the hands and the feet. And hopefully by the end of tomorrow's stream, I should have a pretty finished backflip. I think at this point, the hips are working well. The body's working pretty well. It's just a case of polishing up and making things stick. So yeah, thank you guys for watching again. I'm going to do this hopefully every weekday for about an hour, just doing different animations and different stuff, mostly for my own benefit. But if you guys join in and you can watch my things, please go to my channel, watch my other videos, because I'm trying to get more tutorials out. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow or in my next video. Cheers and happy animating. Bye bye.